I'm sorry for the noise, and also I forgot to turn my light on. One sec. Alright, sorry you guys. I realized that I had, my normal background music, but also had the live stream on my computer playing on YouTube at the same time, so it turned it into this weird screechy sound, and I'm so sorry for that. Oh, lordy. But hello, everyone. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties, but welcome. Sorry for your ears if that hurt, all the screeching sound. But yeah, how's everyone doing? I forgot my water, but it's all good. So we got, hey Nathan, hey Sandy, hey Freddie. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Mine has been a bit of a roller coaster. There's been some good stuff, and there's been some stressful stuff. But I'm hanging in there, and I'm just going to deal with the stressful stuff as well as I can. But in the meantime, we're talking about General Hospital today. You guys can hear me, right? I didn't check that either. Okay, yeah, you can. Sorry. I'm all over the place tonight, y'all. But okay. Still smiling from Friday's episode? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that for sure. Oh man, I feel like I have this music extra loud. It's not my day, y'all. It's not my weekend. I don't know. Alright, y'all. But welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. I am so ready to get into it. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Sprina, and we're going to be talking about Gladys and Sasha and Cody and that mess. But, we're going to do the Gladys stuff in the middle. And we're going to save the Sprina stuff for last, because we saved the best for last. But, besides those two topics, there's not a whole lot to talk about anyway. So, it'll be alright. It's not going to be too long. And you guys know how much I would love to talk about Sprina first. But I feel like, we let everyone slowly come in. We can talk about the stuff that people probably care a little less about anyway. And then we'll get to the good stuff. Yeah. I think the first thing we'll talk about is like the Anna and Charlotte and Valentine stuff, because we pretty much talked about it on Wednesday anyway, and there wasn't any more follow up with it after that, really anyway. So, just to summarize what happened, Valentine had been freaking out since seeing the footage of Charlotte going into Anna's room the night that it was destroyed. And he punishes her by getting her a new house for them to live in together. And, well, really it's because he thought she was acting out, because he's been dropping her off at the warmest doorstep while he dives in and out of town for Anna, for Pikeman, and for anything really. So this was his way to try and make up for it, I guess. Hey, Coretta. Music is a little loud? Okay. I'll turn it down a little bit. Trina's cherry is popped. My gosh, Kaiwan. Okay, yeah, let me put on, well, first of all, maybe even more chill music than this. There we go. I feel like this is fine. Hey, Ruth. I think that they did have a condom. I mean, they never show people getting out the condom in these love scenes anyway. But I'm going to imagine that they did. Because I would think that Spencer would want to be very careful with Trina. And Trina would also want to be very careful with Spencer. Freddie, you said yours is great, even better. You're officially an uncle. Oh, congratulations. Went to the hospital to visit your sister and her husband. She gave birth to twins. Wow. Oh, boy and a girl, even better. Congrats, Freddie. That's awesome. All right, but let's continue on. Basically, Valentine gets even more freaked out because he sees Charlotte messing around with tarot cards, who she claimed she got from a friend at camp, and that the friend at camp taught her how to use them. But we found out that it was actually Victor Cassadine that had sent it to her, or the deck of cards to her rather, when he passed away. They even had Charles Shaughnessy, or whatever his name. What is his last name? Shaughnessy? Charles Shaughnessy? Whatever. He does like a voiceover guest appearance for the letter. And in the letter he says that Anna can't be trusted. Between the cards and the Cassadines' powers of manipulation and mind control, it's pretty believable that she would mess around with Anna's things. But we are sure that she didn't burn Anna's house down, though, because we've seen that it was a man that had done that. Or it seemed like a very manly person, at least. There are still other suspects, too. Pikeman's crew, for one. The WSB for another. Even Portia. But to her credit, she did actually apologize for coming at her so hard when she had when Anna was over at their house. And she told her that when Anna was at the hospital. Anna also had some hearts-to-hearts in the hospital chapel, both with Finn and with Sunny. Finn just said that he's still there for her as a friend. And Sunny and Anna talked about how much things have changed since their glory days, basically, and how they handle their tough situations. And I feel like that is very true. But Anna ain't throwing in the towel, and Sunny ain't throwing in the towel either. Hey, DG. You said, unfortunately, the Charlotte reveal is the only real surprise in these supposedly suspense stories. Cyrus being revealed as Pikeman is very disappointing. He's not Pikeman, though. We know he's not Pikeman. Like, he literally got Austin to get evidence from Sunny because he wanted to get the Pikeman stuff, to arrest Sunny. So we know that he's not Pikeman. Someone else is Pikeman. And Cyrus was just using Sunny's connection to Pikeman to try to get Sunny arrested, that's all. But yeah. Things have changed in 2005 when you first started watching the show. Things have changed a lot. Didn't see the Celeste significance of the tarot cards. I was wondering about that. Yeah, Victor sent them in. Yeah, since we're kind of talking about Cyrus and the Drew thing, we might as well discuss what happened to Drew. He got beaten to a pulp in Pentonville and rushed to GH. It was so bad that he needed surgery. Carly was on the warpath and actually placing the blame on Ava, who she had called over there to accuse her of warning Austin, who she theorized had told her boss. And Sonny stepped in to tell Carly he can guarantee it wasn't Ava. Nina was there too, by the way. My favorite part was Ava telling Nina, basically, imagine what she'll do to you when she finds out you're the reason Drew is in Pentonville for turning him and Carly into the SEC. Carly blames herself, though, anyway. And while I'm not necessarily on Team Nina, it really is Carly's fault. All of it. She committed the crime and she let Drew take the fall, and that's why he's in there. And Carly's not stupid. She knows that it's true. So she's doing everything in her power to get Drew out of there. She's kind of led into thinking that it's Pentonville's warden's priority to get him out of there too. But we know that she's in Cyrus's pocket. My guess is, since she and Cyrus's common goal is to bring Sunny down, is that she's going to try and convince Carly that turning Sunny in is the only option to get Drew out of there, even though there are likely other options that could come up. Carly is looking into the judge's past and looking for proof that he's harder on smaller cases to further his career goals. And Michael's going to help her with that. He and Carly know, or they also know, that Ned was so adamant that he wasn't the one who turned them in. They know that both Olivia and Brooklyn actually believe him. So while they're probably not 100% convinced that he's not, they are at least convinced that there's a possibility that it was someone else. And Michael is going to look into who really did it to see if that can help them in some kind of way get Drew out of there. To that I say, good luck, Nina. Coincidentally, Sonny decided, given how much time and stress preparing for the wedding has been causing Nina, on top of work and on top of what was going on with Gladys, which she did tell Sonny about, thankfully, Sonny thinks that they should elope. So that means the clock is on, y'all. It is October, which means November is around the corner. Carly and Michael are either gonna find out on their own that Nina did it, or Eddie Main is gonna get his memory back, turn back into Ned, probably with Lois's help. By the way, Drew is fine. He pulled through surgery, he woke up, he had a gushy moment with Carly, and a nice conversation with Drew and Wiley. Not Drew and Wiley, Drew about Wiley, sorry. And it was cringe. On that note, though, shortly after Willow's conversation with Drew, we see her like leave the room, and then she suddenly runs into Harmony. And yeah, Harmony's just there in the hospital, alive and well, and she's trying to warn her about something, but whatever she's trying to warn her of, her mouth just goes silent. She's like miming some words, and then it turned out that Willow was actually just dreaming. She had already left Drew's room and passed out in the waiting room, I guess. So yeah. Likely that was probably just like a premonition on Willow's part, you know, about Nina, likely, since we had just seen the scenes of, you know, Michael and Carly talking about finding out who's responsible for getting Drew into Pentonville. But yeah. Michael ain't getting killed. That would be too good for me. Taiwan. Listen, no one wants Michael off GH more than I do, but he ain't gonna get killed. Maybe Gladys will cover for Nina about Sonny. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Even if Nina did do it out of spite, crime is a crime. Exactly. That's how I feel on that too. Like, yeah, Nina turned it in, but I just think that, like, they're not. I don't think that they're looking into who did it just to find out who did it now, like they were trying to out before. Now it's a matter of Drew's been beaten to a pulp in Pentonville, and he's a good guy and should get out of there. And Carly's guilty because he's only in there to protect her from the crime that she committed. So, you know, it wasn't Drew's idea to have Carly invest in their company. And he didn't stop her either. I mean, like, he didn't, like, know that she was going to do it. She did it anyway, despite their warnings, so. DG, you think you might beat me in the wanting Chad Duel Gone category? He bores me to death as Michael always has. He's always bored me to death too, buddy. Like, I have not liked Michael since Drew Garrett was in the role. So we're probably on the same wavelength. Oh, man. All right, but let's move on. Let's talk, well, since we're kind of, you know, all gathered here now, and we're kind of in the middle of all the stories. We've talked about some of them. We'll talk about the rest before we talk about Sprina 2. But the first major story, really, is talking about Gladys, Sasha, and Cody. Since we brought Gladys up anyway, it's the best time to talk about the fuckery, pardon my French, that went on with them this week. Because, am I mad? I'm so mad. Things started off really well. Cody turned himself into the PCPD, and Dante filled Chase in on what's going on, but not before Chase had to deal with Gladys, who showed up at the PCPD after learning that Cody had turned himself in. Meanwhile, Sasha stayed back at the cabin in the woods with Sam, talking about Cody being a good guy with a shady past, like half of the people on this show, let's be real. And even like Sam herself. Speaking of which, happy 20th anniversary to Kelly Monaco. Today actually marks her 20th anniversary day of her airing on the show. On that note, that's what we're going to be reacting to on Wednesday. Kelly Monaco's first scenes on GH, and maybe some other stuff too. I haven't decided yet, but I'll cook something up for Wednesday for sure. In regards to Sam. Anyway, Sam, she puts on her worst disguised voice, calls Gladys, and convinces her that the feds are looking into Sasha's bank accounts and transactions, which scares Gladys so much that she runs back home to pack her bags and dip. And that is when Sasha shows up to the apartments, fully knowing Gladys could potentially make a run for it. And she confronts Gladys on everything. And Gladys even admits to it and says that she was desperate and that she's sorry and that she really does love her. And oh my god, great performance by Sophia Madsen, by the way. She killed it. But yeah, Sasha, she tells Gladys to put her money where her mouth is. She tells her to go to the PCPD, confess to what she did, and help her put Dr. Montague away forever so that he can't hurt anyone else ever again. And she reluctantly agrees, except when she goes out the door, she calls the PCPD to come get Sasha, and they arrest her. And ooh, I was mad. I'm like, there goes Gladys's last chance to be redeemed in any way. Like, there's no going back now. This woman is done. Case closed. And Sunny also kind of knows most of what she did, so she's already going to be shunned from the family. Like, oh, it's going to be a rough one for Gladys. And I hate that they really could have salvaged Sasha. Like, gambling is a real addiction, and she did get herself in a tight spot, and I don't know if she was actually getting help like she had claimed to Nina of her gambling addiction. But like, this would have at least redeemed her and proved that she really did love Sasha. And now it's clear that Sasha is a means to an end for her, which is unfortunate. What are y'all saying though? Oh, you still miss Drew too? Yeah. Now that he's in his 30s, yeah, he's definitely had a glow up. He was a pretty handsome dude back then, but dude definitely had a glow up. What else y'all saying though? I'm actually happy because we'll get more Gladys. No, she's done. Like, there's no going back for this. She's either gonna run away or go to jail for it. Like, we're gonna see less of her. And that's the thing, like, if they had redeemed her, we would have gotten more Gladys. But now I think it's just too big of a hole. You know what I mean? Turn herself in, I highly doubt it here. Don't only hear. Well, that's what I'm saying. I already said, like, she didn't turn herself in. She turned Sasha in and got her arrested. How could Dante let them take Sasha back to the hospital? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so what's worse is that shortly after arriving to the PCPD, she gets escorted back to Ferncliff and tied up in that room again. So Sasha is right back where she started. That's what pissed me off. And I'm sitting here like, this bitch didn't record Gladys's confession? Sam didn't give her an audio device? What the actual hell? I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Like, I thought in my head, and I think I even said this on Wednesday. Or no, I didn't. Because like, that part happened after Wednesday. But I think I did at least predict that Sasha was going to confront her and get an audio recording. And then my thought process when we saw, like, the confrontation go down, which I think happened on Thursday. I can't remember now. Either way, what I thought was going to happen was she was going to give Gladys the chance to, like, confess on her own, because of course a part of her wants to believe that there's still good in her for how she took care of her initially when Brando and when Liam died. But I figured that, you know, if Gladys proved her wrong, then she could at least be like, well, that's fine, because I got your confession right here. That's how I thought it was going to go down, and it didn't go down that way at all. And I just, it's irritating to me. It is so irritating to me that that's not how it played out. Not because I was wrong, but because it's stupid that Sam wouldn't even, you know, get her an audio device in the first place. She's a PI. That's literally like PI 101. What do you, like, oh, it made me mad. Oof. And then furthermore, by the way, when the PCPD confronted Dr. Montague about the pills in his pocket from when Cody had taken his clothes to help Sasha escape, he claimed that he found out Cody was supplying drugs to Sasha at Ferncliff. And so now he's free to go back and finish what he started at Ferncliff, drugging her to oblivion. And we even see him staring at Sasha through the window. And of course, nothing happened Friday. So I don't know what the hell could have happened in the next day. I think, like, there was Friday's preview, and Monday we're going to get some Sasha and Cody stuff. And Sasha obviously does seem a lot stronger. But I swear to God, if this shit still ends with Sasha getting drugged, I'm going to be so pissed. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens this week. What are y'all saying, though? Because he had to, she can't let him baby Cody. Well, she's like, Sonny, she does with great... Sorry. Gladys, what? Sorry, I couldn't get that. It cracked you up, DG? Freddie, you said if I was Nina, I wouldn't give a shit about Carly, Michael, Jocelyn, and the rest of them fussing. Let them fuss. It is what it is. Yeah, but the problem is that Sonny's going to have a problem with Nina screwing over Carly and Drew the way that she did. So, because Sonny still obviously cares very much for Carly. It's the mother of his kids. They were together for decades at this point. So, like, Sonny ain't going to be happy about that. And might even dump her ass for it. We'll see. Sonny will save them. Hopefully someone saves them. Goddess is like, Sonny, she only does the evil for greater goods. I mean, her greater good is that she can still gamble, though. Like, she ain't running no, like, mob empire, you know what I mean? She's just trying to gamble, and she keeps losing anyway. And, like, all this, the sad part is, all of this could have ended if she just told Sonny from the jump that Selena Wu was bleeding her dry. So to Nina's credit, I do gotta give her credit to at least telling Sonny the truth and telling her about the Selena angle. So, you know, Sonny can at least deal with that part. The problem is, like, they gotta prove it. And I think I've seen some people on the message boards chatting about, well, maybe the plan all along was to get Sasha back into Ferncliff, and she's just putting on this performance, and Cody's putting on a performance because they know that they have to get proof. So maybe, you know, they're going to keep watch at what Dr. Montague might do. That's my hope. I don't know. Like, maybe they got someone on the ends now. Because obviously they're going to want to protect Sasha from getting drugged. But they know that they need concrete proof, and that would be concrete proof. Hopefully that's their plan B. Freddie, you said True Dion and Sonny most likely will kick Nina to the curb. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like he did Claudia at her birthday. Dang. Except it'll be at the wedding. Like I said, it's only a month away, y'all. Like, it's like I'm guessing. Like, it's November sweeps. It's only a month. It makes sense. All right, now before we get into Sprina, everything else that happened can be explained pretty briefly. So let's save the best for last, like I said, and do a bit of a speed round for the rest. Because, like I said, there's really not that much left to talk about. Number one, Ava had a rough week. She not only got ripped to shreds by Carly for something she didn't do, she goes over to Carly's house to say goodnight to Avery and gets sprayed by water guns by Avery and Donna. Although she does have a slight moment of bliss when Jocelyn treats her like a human being for the first time. And they let each other know that they both are thankful that they are in Trina's life, because Ava truly cares about Trina, and Jocelyn can see that. And you know, Ava can also see that Jocelyn really cares about Trina as well, I guess. But then she goes back to Windermere, where she gets caught in the pouring rain because apparently Spoon Island has its own microclimate, which, like, part of me is like, well, it's the Cassidines. Anything goes with those guys. But, like, really, they're like a 5-minute boat ride to Port Charles. And I don't think there's a weather machine on the island, as far as I know. But yeah, she asks her butler to make her a dry martini after getting soaked in the rain. And he trips and soaks her with it as well. And then also the hot water is out because of the storm that's happening on Spoon Island. And when the butler is sent home for the rest of the evening, the power goes out completely and Mason shows up and kidnaps her because Cyrus called him a dumbass for believing Ava's story. Maurice Bernard loves Cynthia Woodrow, so Nina isn't going anywhere. Yeah, like Sunny's love interests are not going anywhere. But I also don't think that means that Sunny and Nina are going to stay together. I just think that she's not leaving the show. Because it's not an unredeemable thing. It's just a shitty thing that she did. You know what I mean? And like, who could blame her? Like, you know, Carly gives as good as she gets. You know what I mean? So like, and Carly would honestly be just as spiteful and do something just as vindictive to Nina if she was given the chance to. So it's just a matter of who did it first and who had the more ammunition. And you know, like Carly basically handed that on a silver platter to Nina. Not that she told Nina what happened, but like, still. She knows enough people in Carly's life to have found out and used it to her advantage. Well, you think ultimately Sunny and Nina will stay together because that's what Maurice wants? I don't know, because like, to me, whenever Maurice has a new love interest, he always gasses them up to oblivion. I feel like, and I think he actually said this in an interview once, always choose the one you're with in terms of like when discussing couples. And like, who, because you know, he's going to get asked who his favorite pairing is. So he kind of has to say that. But at the same time, we also know that, you know, Maurice, he gets bored and he wants to change things up. And he had been long over the Sunny and Carly relationship himself, before Laura even got into the role in the first place. And when she got into the role, like, Sunny didn't want Carly and him together. So like, that's why we got like Carly and Jax. We had Carly and Lorenzo for a bit. Like, he was just over it. But that doesn't mean that there can't be a new woman to be in Sunny's life. Don't make it Lois, though. Do not make it Lois. I know she's coming back. Do not make it Lois. Carly talked her own son into having an affair with a married man's wife. That's true. That's true. Brooklyn's mom should be the new wife. No. Lois is the, like, aside from Diane, Lois is the only woman that did not fall for Sunny's charms, and it needs to stay that way. And that's that on that. I do not need a Sunny and Lois pairing. Alright, moving on though. Number 2, Laura and Kevin finally make an appearance on screen again. They're in Switzerland looking for Nicholas and discover that Nicholas is making withdrawals from his bank accounts. Laura's relieved that he's alive and believes that they'll find him now. I don't think that they will find him. I think likely Nicholas will reveal himself to them because he's in Switzerland as well. And the banker guy that Laura and Kevin were talking to does tell Nicholas afterwards that his mother is a good woman and he shouldn't be putting her through this, but Nicholas is still as smug as ever. Honestly, at this point, I'd be fine with him never coming back. Like, he clearly has no bone in his body that wants to reconcile with Spencer or try to be a better person for Laura or to make things right with Ava or to have anything to do with his actual kid, his latest kid either, for that matter. It's going to be a mess if he returns anyway. And Spencer and Trina are finally in a good place. More on that shortly. We're almost there, guys. You think Maurice will still with Cynthia? We'll see. Sonny and Lois are gross. I agree. Why in the hell was the bank rep giving Laura info on Nick's bank account? So unprofessional. Because, sorry, I should have brought this up. Because Laura has known this particular guy for a very, very long time. So he's kind of in her pocket. He's known her since the Luke and Laura days. So actually one of the first things she did was welcome Miss Spencer. And she had to be like, oh, it's Collins now. This is my new husband, etc. So that's why. Yeah, she was in his back pocket, but obviously Nicholas paid him more, which is unfortunate. And that's why that's why the banker was like, why are you doing this to Laura? She's a good woman. But he didn't really convince him of anything, so that's also unfortunate. Number 3, Blaze agrees to be managed by Brooklyn. Number 4, Eddie performed at the Savoy. We already talked about it last week, so it's fine. On Wednesday. But he failed to finish the song. Don't worry, Lois gets here, not this week, but next week. So she'll set him straight. Number 5, we got a new Molly this week, which we talked about on Wednesday. Hopefully the last one, because I'm over it at this point. She told TJ and the Ashfords that their surrogate is pregnant. Alexis told Christina that Molly is pregnant as well. And Christina congratulated her at the Savoy. And it was as cold as ice, basically. So I don't really have a whole lot to say on that matter. The amount of recast, I get it. But it needs to stop at some point. And honestly, Molly's not even that important of a character to really keep on recasting. Just send her away. I'd be okay with that. TJ can find someone new. Oh, brother, that's still very unethical and probably even illegal. True, but it's also General Hospital, so it's why I'm kind of like, I'm not surprised by the logic of what went down, because they at least established Laura and that banker's relationship prior. Laura always deals with people that like to color a little bit out the lines for the greater good. So it makes sense. That's all I'm saying. The Molly revolving door needs to stop. Just write the character out. I hope Rena Selfer stays a while as Lois, but I won't hold my breath. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they didn't really specify how long she's staying. I'm hoping that she stays at least as long for Ned to finally figure out who he is, but also for Sonny's wedding, because Sonny needs a bestie there, you know what I mean? Sonny needs a bestie for when he's, like, angry, to, like, talk him down, and it can't be Carly, because obviously she's going to be in the situation, because inevitably the confrontation is going to happen at the wedding. If it doesn't, I'd be very surprised. But GH has been pulling, like, the old bait and switch where you think a story's going some way, but it happens in a completely different way, which I appreciate, because then it's not as predictable. But in this instant, I wouldn't mind the predictability a little bit. And find an established actress for Taj Below. These weak recasts of unknowns is ridiculous. Yeah, because I really like the actor that plays TJ, and I like that he's kind of being sort of groomed into be like the main doctor of GH. I feel like it seems like it's going that way. And so they need to give him a love interest, maybe one that's even a doctor herself. Not that there's anyone on the canvas yet that I think could be a good match for him. But they could bring in a new doctor. Like, we need new doctors. There's very little amount of doctors and nurses on the cast to begin with that actually get utilized. Which leads me to number 6, by the way. So Jake took Drew being in the hospital on death's door pretty hard, and Finn stepped up as the only man left in Elizabeth's children's lives that hasn't died or been believed to have died or left her Well, he did leave her, but he came back to her, so it's fine, I guess. He claims, or he calms Jake down. And Elizabeth was kind of turned on by that, I guess, because the next day, when she sees him showering in the hospital's co-ed shower and change rooms, which is still so ridiculous, they make love in the showers. It's giving Scrubs, but from Wish. Like that's the vibe I get, but I guess I'm happy that they're happy. Amy noticed their hair was both wet, just like Epiphany had pointed that out to Robin and Patrick in a scene on Night Shift. That's why I compared them. Anyway, Sprina. Let's talk about Spencer and Trina, because that is what I'm here for today, and what I know some of y'all really want to talk about, and that's what I've really wanted to talk about this whole time too. And there's lots to discuss, y'all. Let's talk about these two beauties. Finally getting to be a couple for once. There was a slight hiccup at the beginning of the week. Ace had a chickenpox exposure scare that was either a genuine mistake from a doctor, or a plan by Portia, or a plan by Esme that she chickened out on last second because she saw how sad Spencer was. Let me know what your theory is and what you think is likely what happened there. Spencer picked Trina up, and they flew to Manhattan to have their moment. And boy, was it a moment. They had cute scenes when they arrived at their hotel. She FaceTimed Joss to tell her how much fun she was having. They had champagne and grapes before heading out on the town for their mostly off-screen date. Not like I really thought we were going to see scenes of them watching the Moulin Rouge or anything. We did get to see them have dinner on a fancy outdoor patio. It was just a set, but a beautiful set, an impressive set. And they made it realistic by having the wind going as well, and even having a green screen backdrop of a realistic downtown Manhattan for a second, which I really appreciated as well. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a nerd. I like these little details, so sue me. I love them for it, especially because, you know, for most of the years on the show that I've seen, especially in the last few, like, or not the last few, but like the last few before the last couple of years, the sets, you know, I felt like the show was doing the bare minimum to try and make these shoebox sets look realistic. But lately, I'm enjoying the new sets that they're bringing in. I don't like the made-over sets from, like, Windermere and the Quartermain Mansion and Kelly's that they sort of refurbished a little bit. Quartermain Mansion was refurbished a lot to the point where it doesn't make any sense. But the new sets that are just new sets are really nice sets. I just love them. I'm impressed by their team. I don't know if they hired a new team lately, but they've done a great job in my opinion. Back to Sprina though. I'm sorry, guys. They said their I love yous. Spencer said it back at the hotel when they first got there, and Trina did it during the dinner because good things come to those who wait, is what she said her Aunt Stella would tell her. And then we got treated to a beautiful montage of a lot of their cutest moments. And when they get back to their hotel, they are more than ready to have their first time. And they do, y'all. There was rose petals and magic. And my God, those are two incredibly gorgeous human beings. Man, they are gorgeous people. So all in all, it was perfect. That said, the strike is over, and that means soon Nicholas Chavez will leave GH to film the new American Crime Story series. So it will likely be short-term bliss, which I'm sad about. But until then, I will hold on to this precious moment, okay, y'all? Like, let me enjoy this little morsel of bliss while I can, because I know it's gonna be over. I know. I'm not stupid. We just got lucky that, like, the strike happened when it did, because it made Nicholas stay on the show, and they made the writers give us Sprina. So, like, you know what I mean? We were pretty much neglected the entire summer. And I understood it, because I was like, well, he's leaving soon, and, you know, they had to pull them apart for a bit, until he was done shooting the show. But now he's able to shoot the show, so we'll see. What are y'all saying though? Oh, you're not a Sprina fan. Well, this stream is not for you, DG, tonight. But I know you're not a fan of Sprina, but a lot of us have been waiting, and I don't feel like it was forced. That's just the eye in the beholder. I mean, we waited like 3 years. So what's forced about it? It can't be any less forced if they actually tried. But yeah. Oh, Sandy, you said it was a perfect, beautiful night with the Manhattan skyline in the background. That's a bit outside world set, you would say on GH. Yeah, but like it wasn't like, I just mean like sometimes they actually go on location and shoot things like the hospital roof scenes lately that they've been doing, the god awful park with the fenced in area that looks like shit, and like a few other outdoor spots here and there outside of the studio where they make it look like the outside of the hospital, different things like that. And I was just pointing out that it wasn't one of them. It was actually an actual set that they green screened a backdrop on. But I just appreciated the effort that they made, because it looked more realistic than their fake outdoor sets usually do. So I appreciated the effort that they made into at least making it appear that way. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. What else are you guys saying though? I hate the Q mansion. Yeah, so do I. And the door like changed like locations. The door is where like their kitchen used to be. The door is where the door to their kitchen used to be. Oh, you were crying and smiling at the same time. I wasn't crying. I wasn't gushing or anything. I just really appreciated that we were finally getting them like as a couple doing coupley things away from all the drama that they've been facing. Like, it's about damn time. They got them away from Esme and Portia. They didn't screw their trip over. They just let them have their moment. And as a fan of the couple, like, it's been so frustrating the entire summer watching them get dragged apart. And really, like, pretty much right after Greenland too. Like, they were like, I really enjoyed the Greenland storyline. And glad that they like got together and they had their moment at the nurse's ball and like things like that. But like after that, it was just like they just didn't show them at all for like the longest time. All right, though. Freddie, you were saying when Chase finally does find out about his father, told other people about ALS, his diagnosis, including Tracy, all hell will break loose. I don't know. Like, I just think of Chase's personality, and yeah, he can get mad, but like, considering he's forgiven Brooklyn for doing way worse. Sorry, there's a fruit fly there. This time of year, y'all, in Alberta. But yeah, considering he's forgiven Brooklyn for way worse, and he's forgiven Willow for like cheating on him with Michael and like faking being with him because he was sick. Like, I don't know. I don't see Chase getting too mad about his father. Or even Finn. He might get mad for like a day, but I don't think all hell is gonna break loose. We need to keep these writers. Oh, how I wish. Yeah, Edmund, you feel the same way. Yeah, it's not that. Listen, I think that for me, there's no argument in the fact that the scab writers have done a much better job with the day-to-day than the real writers do. But I don't think that they can legally axe those new writers and replace them with the scab writers. At least I don't think so. There's got to be some legalese that like would require them to not do that, to not oust them for it. And I'm sure there's something on the contract of a scab writer that says that they can only step in until the strike was over. So it is what it is. Oh, you just want a good triangle. But see, I don't like triangles as much. Like, I like when they can have a couple have their own like drama without putting another love interest in there and cheating spouses and that, this and that. Because that's what made like the super couples back in the day really great. You know what I mean? Like Luke and Laura, they didn't have, like Laura wasn't torn with her relationship with Scott for too long. And then anything that Luke and Laura faced after Scott was out of the picture was like an outside conflict that made them have really memorable stories. So, and the same could be said with Robert and Holly. And the same could be said with Felicia and Frisco. Like, the things that tore them apart was not some other potential love interest. It was outside things causing them not problems as a couple, but problems as, like, how do I word this properly? Problems that the couple are facing together that isn't tearing them apart. It's just something that they have to solve together. Like, that's what I like, and I think that's what makes, you know, a good super couple. And I'm not saying that anyone on the show currently is a super couple, nor that there will ever be that kind of super couple again, but I appreciate when writers take note of that formula and just give them conflicts that have nothing to do with, you know, people that are wanting to tear them apart, or like a triangle relationship type of thing. Not my thing. Cody and Sasha were actually running out of the studio. Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, and that's the thing, they use that studio for so many outdoor scenes that aren't even at the hospital, and I always recognize when it is because I've watched the show long enough to have seen every corner of the outside of that studio over the years, so I know what is where. Like, you know, I know what's where, and so, you know, I let that slide for the sake of the story. I just appreciate the effort of them going out on location, and I also appreciate that when they can't, they try to make the most of what they can work with, especially lately. Edmund, you said, I really thought Esme was going to ruin the whole trip. I was nervous about that too, but I'm glad it was a bit of a bait and switch for that. I'll do my time until Esme gets her memories back and Nick takes the fortune away from Spencer. I don't know. I don't see the writers bringing her memories back, to be honest, DG. At this point, I feel like they've Jason Morgan'd her. I hope the writers keep Spencer and Trina going. Well, I'd love that, except they can't really do that when Nicholas Chavez is about to go shoot a new show. That's why they were getting torn apart in the first place. So, like, maybe Spencer can just go out of town for a little bit. They could find a way to not tear them apart, and I'd appreciate that. I'm just not hopeful about that. The ALS story is pointless and boring. It is what it is. I don't mind them telling an illness storyline, especially when it's a character that I'm not particularly here or there for. And I think it'll give great meat for Michael Easton and Josh Wicard and even Nancy and Jane to work with. And I'm really looking forward to those performances when, you know, that disease inevitably takes him. Chase and Michael are the two most one-dimensional characters. Yeah, you ain't wrong. Nathan, you said that was under the FICOR writers of what they did for Trina, regardless of Chris and Dan's outline or whatever. Chris and Dan don't deserve any credit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was the Day-to-Days writers that gave us those Sprina moments, and we might have not gotten them under Chris and Dan. Hard to say. The only thing, likely we wouldn't have gotten them. Just because of how much they kept them apart in the first place. Edmund, you said the only thing that I haven't liked about the new writers is how they've created dumb drama between the Davis girls. Yeah, that's, well, to that end though, I think that is a Chris and Dan thing. So like the day-to-day stuff is, you know, what the FICOR writers are doing. But it is under Chris and Dan's outline. So his outline, you know, their outline for Molly and Christina was to have this conflict. How it happened and how they got there was up to the FICOR writers. So I don't know if it would have been any better under Dan and Chris, to be honest. Especially with what happened with Haley. Like, they had to, like, maneuver the storyline around a little bit because of the recast and everything, too. They can only keep one of the scab writers, but remove the rest of them. Well, they better keep the best one, then. I like triangles because that's how soaps were back in the day. Robert, Holly, and Luke. Yeah, but Luke wasn't torn by... Like, Luke wasn't torn by Scotty. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Laura, Luke, and Scotty, like, that didn't last long. And neither did Robert, Holly, and Luke. Luke was not torn with, like, Holly for very long. She chose Robert. You know what I mean? And when he got back from being dead, like, that was it. Like, there was like a bit of conflict, and then Laura was brought back to the show. But those weren't their most compelling storylines. They had much better storylines once they were a couple. Oh, you weren't digging the music? Yeah, the music was kind of generic. I don't know what, like, the unfortunate thing, I miss when GH had, like, songs for couples, but they were, like, really, really beautiful songs. Like, to the point where, like, there were couples that I despised, but I loved their songs. You know what I mean? Like, I hated Jason and Elizabeth with every fiber of my being, you guys. I truly did. But Ours to Keep was a beautiful song by Keenan Grannis, and I listened to that shit all the time. And, like, if I had to sit through a Jason and Liz love scene, at least it was to a beautiful score. You know what I mean? Yeah, but yeah, now all their songs are a bit lackluster, which is unfortunate. You know, people said the same thing about Jason, DG. How many times did we hear that Jason's going to finally get his memories back as a Quartermain? And he never did. He never did. Well, DG, the show is called General Hospital, so you're going to have to suck up the terminal illness storyline sometimes. Bite your lip, man. Bite your lip. It's GH. We need these storylines. Kaiwan, you said, yeah, Chris. And then I feel always looking for Rachel. Who's Rachel? What? Victoria, you like Jason and Sam's song? Yeah, Just You and Me. And I like that they refreshed it too once they brought them back in 2009 again. And then refreshed it again when Billy was in the role. Rest in peace, Billy, once again. Ah, so young, man. Yeah, photo. How much do you want to bet Esme gets her memories back eventually? I don't know. I'm not going to bet. I'm just saying, like, up until now, like, there's no inkling that she has even a shred of her memory back. She might have, like, the impulses, but that's because, like, she didn't lose her impulses. She just lost her memory. Now, that said, it doesn't mean that they can't make her a great character. I just don't see them getting her to go full villain again. That's all. But maybe I could be wrong. We'll just have to see. Alright, y'all. But on that note, I think I'll end the stream here because it's almost been an hour. It's been an hour. But yeah, Wednesday we are going to celebrate Kelly Monaco's 20 years on the show. For sure, I'm going to try to track down her first scene, which I think is possible. So it would be Sam and Jax, which I didn't hate them as a couple from what I seen, but like I think the reality with like when Kelly Monaco first got on was they really tried to make her the new Brenda, because they bounced her between Jax and Sunny so fast and it just didn't work, and then she ended up with Jason. But you know, just like for Maurice's anniversary, we watched his first scenes as Sunny. The goal is to watch Kelly's first scenes as Sam. So stay tuned for that, y'all. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching the live stream. I appreciate it. Christelle, sorry, Sprina is a super couple. They're the closest thing to, in my opinion, they're the closest thing that GH has ever gotten to a super couple in the modern day. I feel like they're a modern day version of what the super couple is, but you have to redefine it, because there will never be another Luke and Laura, Robert and Holly, Frisco and Felicia. There's never going to be super couples like that. Sunny and Brenda. That era is over. So you have to redefine the term super couple. And that's why I said, you know, the super couple formula of like giving a couple conflict that makes them stronger as a couple without having to have an affair. That was all I was getting at. But if y'all know how super couples were in the 80s, you know that any couple, no matter how strong the chemistry, is not going to be what a super couple once was. All right, end rant. But yeah, I'll catch you guys Wednesday. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry, DG, but the rest of us will enjoy it. All right, peace out, guys. Have a good night.